People who came back from the dead and what they saw. Imagine closing your eyes and entering complete darkness. Suddenly, you see yourself from above, hear your loved ones crying, and the doctor declaring your death. But then, something mysterious happens. You come back to life, but you're no longer the same. You've seen something no one should ever witness. Today on Hidden Fact, we explore real cases of people who were clinically dead and returned with shocking stories. Were these just tricks of the mind, or is there something beyond death that we aren't supposed to know? These stories are real. Do you dare to listen? Man who saw hell and came back. Description: imagine dying for 3 minutes and coming back with terrifying memories. That's exactly what happened to Dan, a 57-year-old man who suffered a heart attack. When he was revived, he was screaming and crying in fear. Dan described falling into complete darkness, where blackened hands reached out from the ground, grabbing his body. He heard the agonizing screams of thousands of souls burning in torment. He said he was being torn apart. When he returned, he was never the same. He swore he had seen hell. She died for 45 minutes and came back with a chilling secret. Sharon, a 35-year-old woman, died in a car accident and was taken to the morgue, but 45 minutes later, she suddenly woke up, alive. With terror in her eyes, she whispered, "I saw everything. They are here. We are never truly alone." When asked who they were, she simply replied, "A 9-year-old boy predicted his own death, and it came true. Callum, a 9-year-old boy, suffered a sudden cardiac arrest and was declared dead, but just 2 minutes later he came back, and what he said was terrifying. With a trembling voice, he whispered, 'I saw a man. He had an old pocket watch. He told me my time wasn't up yet, but he would come back for me.' His family was shaken but dismissed it as a hallucination. Life went on, until 3 years later Callum died in his sleep. When they found him, he was clutching an old pocket watch, one no one in the family had ever seen before. How did he know? Who was the man with the watch? Was it just a dream, or was something waiting for him beyond death? He heard angels, but not how you think. He heard angels while dead, but they weren't what he expected. Jeffrey, a 48-year-old man, was in a tragic accident that left him dead for 6 minutes. But when he came back, he was shaking with fear. He said he heard voices from above, but they weren't the comforting voices of angels. Instead, they whispered, "He's not ready yet, but when he returns, he will be ours." Since that day, Jeffrey has never been the same. He constantly felt like someone was watching him, following him. He became paranoid, terrified of the whispers he still heard in the dark. He would wake up in the middle of the night, sweating and whispering, "They're coming for me." Was this just a hallucination? Or did Jeffrey hear something he was never meant to? And most importantly, who were they? Comment below. Do you think there's something waiting for us after death? The forensic doctor who brought a dead man back and regretted it. Dr. Logan was a skilled forensic doctor, used to dealing with the dead, until one day the dead came back to him. While performing an autopsy on a mysterious corpse, something terrifying happened. The man's heart started beating, his eyes snapped open, and he gasped for air. But instead of relief, fear filled the room. The revived man stared straight into Dr. Logan's eyes and whispered, "You shouldn't have brought me back. They will be angry." Days later, Dr. Logan was found dead in his home, his body positioned exactly like the corpse he had examined. What happened to him? Did he disturb something beyond human understanding? Was it just coincidence? Or was something truly watching? They died and came back with terrifying stories. These are real cases of people who died and returned with shocking stories no one expected. Some saw dark figures watching them, others heard whispers from beyond, and a few even claimed to have visited places no living person should ever see. Were these just tricks of the brain? Or is there something after death we're not supposed to know? What do you think? Did these people really experience